Okay, awesome. Yay! We got this. We got this.
Yay.
We're rocking our top buns. We're ready to go.
We're ready to go.
We are ready to go. Uh-oh. All right, let me make sure, get my lighting here all situated. Hi, Mirta. That's my mom. Hi, Mommy. I love you.
Hi, Mom.
Awesome. And Adira Jenner Art. Oh, what a beautiful name. Is that your name, Adira? That's beautiful. So, Denise, how are you feeling? Your first ever IG Live, right?
It's my first. I'm super excited because I love this topic. It's my jam, but I'm nervous.
Yes. Yeah, I hear you. Wait, Angela says there's something wrong. Angela, help us.
Help us, Angela.
Help us, Angela. Help us figure this out. What is it? What is it? Maybe you need to try headphones, Denise. Do you have headphones close by?
Shoot.
All right, bear with us. Like her audio is significantly off the video. Oh,
it's like not matching me. Is that what it is? It's not matching my mouth moving.
Okay. Eleni says it sounds good for her.
I don't have.
I think Brian says we both sound great. Angela, maybe it's a delay on your end because so far, Eleni and Brian sees us matching. Eleni says we're good. So.
Yeah, I don't have
Angela, maybe hop off and hop on, Angela, and then maybe it'll sync up for you. So we'll get it going because I know we have at least two people that are hearing us well. So it might be Angela on your end. Hi, Natasha. Okay, so let's get back into the flow. You were saying, Denise, that you're very passionate about this topic. That you're nervous because it's your first IG Live, but it's all good because you love what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, and being nervous, I've learned through my own work and healing is that if we're not nervous, we're not growing.
Yes.
That's
a quotable. That's a quotable. Yeah. When we're not nervous, we're not growing.
Yeah, if we're not nervous about something in life, we're not expanding, we're not evolving. So it's about embracing that feeling and which took years for me to do, and I'm still doing it. It's a journey. It's a journey.
Yeah. So let's get into the format that we typically follow for these is, and again, thank you for your post today. Beautiful prompts and content for us to really get thinking about this idea of awakening our truth. And an amazing compliment to everything we've been talking about. It all seems like interlaced together in a beautiful way. So tell us a little bit, just recap for us why you chose this topic and what you talked about today. And of course, I encourage everybody to go to Denise's post if you haven't done already, to her account and experience all the content. But give us a brief overview of why this topic, why it's so important to everyone else and to you in particular.
Okay, so I love the phrase awaken your truth because I do know from my experience, just through my process, that the truth is always within us. It's not something we have to go find or look for. And I feel like a lot of us, myself included in the beginning, was feeling like I needed a purpose. I needed to find it somewhere out there. And what happens is, from past experiences, and when you really take on this idea of being responsible for your entirety, your past, present, and future, your purpose kind of unfolds through you. Like it's already within you. Yeah. So I think a lot of us get hard on ourselves because we want to find it. We want this, sense of feeling important or, but the truth is we just have to come back to ourselves. Yeah. And it's kind of like the obstacles that we encounter in life are there so we come back to ourselves, right? Yeah. So we're so busy judging our experiences or wanting to get rid of them or change something about what's happening in our lives, but really it's all right in front of us waiting for us to see the gift in it. And I'm kind of touching on Angela's theme a little bit, right?
Yeah,
because it's all purposeful, everything. is
Yeah.
purposeful. So
Yeah.
for me, and I resonate a lot with Natalie, Coach Natalie from Day
Yeah. Day
7.
7. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up also in a family where my physical needs were met, but my emotional needs were not met. And so what happens is, and just because I was in that environment, in family environment, it happens to all of us in across the board, whether we're bullied in school or we're betrayed in a relationship. We lose connection to, because of the pain that we feel, we lose connection to ourselves because we tell ourselves that that's not something we can handle, and we judge it, and then we disconnect from it, and essentially we're disconnecting from ourselves. And so awakening is really just coming back to all the aspects of ourselves that we've buried, that we've kind of, shoved in a corner because
Yeah.
it was too painful to look at, and we lose ourselves. And
Yeah.
in my case, I lost my self-expression, I lost my voice, I lost my sense of self-worth, I lost my sense of value, I lost my confidence. I lost a lot because I didn't feel like I was seen. And I think if you're listening, those of you that are listening, we can all relate to this on some level, right?
Absolutely.
And awakening really just means remembering that
Yeah.
we everything that happened to us was not personal. It's just that we're all going through the same pains, and it's up to us. That's why in my post, the first step is taking responsibility, because once we take responsibility, then we don't inflict our pains onto each other anymore.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And
So,
yeah, I love when you say that this is really a shared experience, because it absolutely is. And regardless of me, you could be someone who resonates with Denise or Natalie's story, where your childhood home may not have been the best container for a lot of emotional love, or you could resonate with a story where someone who had a ton of emotional love. And regardless of that, I think that there are all of these moments in life, whether it's external expectations or just all of these unfortunate opportunities that actually shield us from our truth, because we're trying to protect ourselves, because we're afraid of something, because we're not taught, even if our parents had the best intentions as we were growing up, we weren't necessarily taught to express our truth. And our truth sometimes, like if you think about the way kids behave, their natural inclination might be to, like you said, you lost your voice. The inclination might be for a kid to want to scream and jump and sing. And parents, and I'm a parent myself, so I'm conscious of this all the time, we're like, no, shh, stop. Even that little moment can be enough, obviously, for us to sort of internalize that and go, okay, well, let me lower my voice. Let me shut my voice in, because that's what's expected of me.
yes.
And then we grow up. So I point that out, because it's like a range of all sorts of different experiences, like you said.
Yes.
But the point is that we get to a certain moment later on in our adulthood when we hopefully begin to become aware of the fact that there's something in there that's missing, that's not quite clicking. And then that's like the right moment for us to begin to awaken our truth.
Yes.
Right? So what would you say are some of the signs for someone who needs to work that area of awakening your truth? Like what do you feel when your truth is not awake?
Yeah. It's a great question. And I really think that something that's happens to a lot of us is that we repeat a pattern in our life, and it could be in any area. It could, some of us, it's every area where we're repeating certain things, relationships, work, our bank account. It shows up in the physical reality because that's how we have to have contrast. We learn through contrast, and because we are spiritual beings, but we're in this physical reality to show us where we're disconnected internally. When we are on the path of our highest truth with a capital T, everything starts to align, right? But when we're disconnected, we start to see repetitive patterns, And the way that we start to wake up is hopefully we get to a point where we notice this keeps happening to me and I am the common denominator. But when we're not paying attention, we will tend to blame outwardly. We blame the person or the circumstance or the bank account. And our beliefs reflect that, because our beliefs will say, well, this is just who I am. This is just my luck. This is what happens to me. Yes. And we create a story around it when we're not willing to take responsibility. We create this repetitive story. And my story was, well, this something must be wrong with me, because my repetitive pattern was essentially in relationships, where I just found myself repeating a relationship over and over and over again with a different person, but it felt the same, energetically draining, and I wasn't allowed to, I felt, express myself fully in the relationship. And I kept doing it until I had an aha moment at work one day, and I said, why is it that when the relationship ends, and I think this is where we start, is when we start to ask ourselves our powerful questions that give us powerful answers, rather than just looking outward and going, it must be them, or it must be that situation. We go inward, and we realize, we have like a moment where a realization, and we ask ourselves, why is it that, my question was, when the relationship ends, that person goes off and has a new experience, but I'm still in mine, and I keep repeating it. And that was my pivotal point, where then I started to take responsibility for why I kept doing that.
I wanted to ask you to, as you continue going through, is to break down for us a little bit, and hi, it's a long shot. I love you too. Break for us down a little bit this idea of taking responsibility for our experience of life, right? So, because I think that's one of those phrases, and I love how throughout the 12 days, we've been sort of breaking down with all these like truth bombs and moments of clarity, all these phrases like fulfillment, or finding the gift, or self-compassion, awakening your truth, taking responsibility. Like, that's one of those that I feel like people continue to hear over and over again. So break down for us in the simplest terms what that means, and how does that reflect in our own lives, so that we can feel more empowered to actually put it to good use.
So, great question. It means taking responsibility for our internal world. It's much less about our external world, and it's more about I think there's three components: our mental state, our emotional state, and our spiritual state. So mentally, we have dominion over our thinking. But if we're stuck in the past of our old stories, we are going to keep recreating those old stories. So taking responsibility really means telling ourselves, I am not my story, right? The story is just something that kept me safe up until this point, but if it's not serving me now, I get a choice. I get to choose to transform it, right? Yeah. Emotionally, we're carrying old feelings from our past that bring us into present day experiences and keep us repeating patterns. Because if we keep feeling the same feelings that we think that we've buried, because what we resist persists, right? Anything that we push under the rug, it just comes up in different form for us. So we have to take responsibility for those hard emotions that we don't want to look at. And then a key to that is not judging, and I talk a lot about this in the post, is not judging our emotions, not judging our thoughts, because anything we judge, we can't transform. We judge it, we just make it harder to embrace. And when we embrace something, it sounds like we have more attachment to it, but we have more of a compassionate relationship with it. So we're willing to look at it, we're willing to transform it. When we're judging or resisting it, it's much harder to release. Yeah. So there's the mental state, and then there's our emotional state, and then there's our spiritual state, where based on the thoughts that we think and the feelings we feel from our past, there are people involved that helped, that create that story. Those people, from a spiritual perspective, are our teachers. They were not there to harm us. They're really there to serve us. And we have to look at it from that perspective. And when we do that, it's easier to forgive. And forgiveness is a really key component in taking responsibility for our past. So that we can release it and come back. The more we do this work, the more we come into the present moment.
Yeah.
And that's when our intuition and our higher guidance starts to kick in.
Yes.
Right. So it's really crucial, like all of these things that I'm talking about from the past. Some might say, well, why is it so essential to go into the past if it already happened? I hear a lot of that. But if we don't face it, we recreate it. Right. So it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to read a couple of the great comments here from Angela. Our internal stories determine our reality much more than actual events. She wrote that right as you started saying that, so you guys are totally connected. I know that you guys have a bond, which is awesome. Natasha says, I've heard this in the right point in my life. Thank you. It's what I've been through. Thank you, Natasha, for sharing that. And she also shares, I'm in the process of self-healing. We have so much power in us. I want to hold that for a second because maybe we can do some quick little Insta coaching here with Natasha. And Angela says, anything we judge, we can transform. Pow. I love that. Denise, you have to make that like a quotable for tomorrow. Everybody has had at least one quotable moment during their live chat. It's amazing. It's like there's always like the mic drop moment. Like there it is. And hi to Belinda for joining us. So Denise, I'd love to touch upon here, and Natasha, if there's anything else you want to share specifically about your experience. I love the fact that you're coming through with authenticity and such courage, because this is what it's all about. So what would you tell someone like her that's being brave enough to say, I'm in the process of self-healing, we have so much power in us? What would you tell her to motivate her to just keep going?
Yes, keep going, and that you are going to hit some really deep pain points, but those are the most transformative parts that are holding the biggest gifts for you.
The best is yet to come for Natasha, basically. Yeah.
When you, first of all, she's done the work just by being in it. Like she's already put herself in it. That's half the battle, right? She's open. So when you're open and you're willing, there's no turning back. So she's there. And from that point, when you have that willingness, and you know, and you can say out loud, there's so much power in us, the answers are going to just come. You have to have that mentality and that belief, because most of us go on this journey feeling like we have to fix something. And that perpetuates the process of healing, because we're coming from a place that something's wrong with us. But when she can say already, there's so much power in us, she's already coming from a healed perspective. So anything that comes up, does this make sense? Anything that comes up for her, she's going to know, this is serving me.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like you said, she's already on that path. She's already put herself on the path to growth, which is the hardest thing. It's almost like a train track, and you have to be willing to like, all right, get on that track and then begin to build momentum towards your goal. And Natasha, it sounds like you're already on it. She says, thank you. Yay, I'm so determined to change my life. We love you, Natasha. We're sending you big hugs. And however we can serve you, DM Denise, DM me, DM any of the coaches. We're all here to support you all the way. So that's an open invitation, because we're here to help. And I find that so beautiful, because you just illustrated the ease with which we can begin to create massive transformation and healing in our lives once we, make the decision to do so.
Right. We have to know that it's possible before it's possible. We have to have that mindset and that internal feeling within us that even in my darkest moments, I knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I knew there was a possibility of something different for myself. And I think anytime we start to hop on this path, that internal knowing is in us already. It has to be, otherwise we wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this. Do you want to echo some of the comments that you got today when you interacted with people on the feed? Anything you remember that stood out for you?
Yes, I have a few of them here. So one comment is about honoring our feelings, all of our feelings, which I think is really important, because we can't change anything that we don't acknowledge, right? So if we're having this sense of unfulfillment or this sense within us that we continuously are beating ourselves up or being hard on ourselves, and it's creating all of this frustration, but we're not acknowledging it, then we're just perpetuating it. And so honoring all of our feelings, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is what transforms them. So I had somebody say that really hit home for them, and not judging her own beliefs, because we tend to have a negative belief and we want to quickly push it away because we're telling ourselves, well, if we think that, we're going to create it. No, if you push it away, you're going to create it. You really have to embrace it and own it, so that you can be so comfortable with, the more comfortable we are with things, the more we're willing to shift them. Right?
Yeah.
It's what we push away and judge, and I'm repeating myself from before, but it's truth.
It's that important. Yeah.
Anything we judge, we're just going to keep repeating. So, so that hit home for her. And then I had two comments about the forgiveness piece, that forgiving ourselves and forgiving others is critical in the healing process. Again, because it frees us. We think we're letting someone off the hook, and we're I don't know, we have this sense of like that we think we're going to just allow people to, or give people permission to treat us a certain way. But forgiveness is just about freeing ourselves and releasing ourselves of anything that is holding us back from our true desires, right? Because anything we're attached to, we can't, if we're pulling that with us, we can't move forward.
Yeah.
So forgiveness is just a form of release, and that hit home for her. And then I had someone comment on navigating through the resistance of the forgiveness process, which I think is, it's important, because it's, again, we want to deny. I know for me, for a long time, I didn't even know that I had to forgive people, because I didn't know that I was in any pain, right? So once we start to, that's why I made forgiveness the last component, because once we start to take responsibility for our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings, we kind of start to realize who contributed, not in a way that was intentional, because we're all doing the best we can, right? With what we know at every given moment, we're all doing the best we can. But when we start to realize that people played a role in our stories, that's when we realize that we're holding resentment and grudges without even knowing it. And when we start to tap into the forgiveness piece, we're going to feel resistance, because holding a grudge or any kind of feeling becomes so comforting to us that when we want to shift it, it becomes uncomfortable, and we don't know how to embrace a new feeling. Even a feeling that we know is going to serve us, it's really hard to embrace something that's new to us. So there could be a lot of resistance around forgiveness. And the way that I respond to that is to really know that that person was your teacher, and that person was only doing the best job they could to serve you in your own growth. And when you look at it from that perspective, it's easier to let go of the resistance. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It absolutely makes sense. And it also reminds me of what we started off the chat with, which was unrelated, but related, is that idea of the things that make us nervous are the ones that make us grow. You just touched upon this idea of working through those feelings that are uncomfortable for us. And when we hit those points when we know we're triggered and we know that we've just hit something that our tendency is to like hide from it. but it's almost like this, unless we really face it and we look at it and we begin the process of healing and understanding it, then that's when we're going to be able to grow. Avira says, agree, I'm practicing honoring other people's feelings. It's tough. It is tough. One thing that I've been, something that's come up for me very recently is this idea of, in my mind, replacing the word forgiveness with the word understanding. And that, to me, it's been interesting. I can't even remember exactly the moment that it came up, but what it allowed me to do was unlock this area of sort of new power within me, because it became less about, oh, I need to forgive her because she hurt me, and I need to understand her because she didn't know any better in that moment than to say that or do that. Whatever it was, her, him, it, you name it. I think that sense of, again, understanding a situation, I think can give us more power to again, take responsibility for what we're feeling and just look at it in a different way. And it doesn't release the fact that maybe what that person did wasn't the coolest. Let's face it. It's not about giving them permission to not treat us properly, but we can understand whether it was a bad day, a bad experience, a tough situation from their past, whatever happened in that moment that shifted that person into an energy of not quite jiving with us.
Yes.
Before, we've got some comments coming in here. Gillen, hi Gillen, you've been so awesome on all these chats. Whoa, great stuff, deep thoughts. And Angela says, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to add, like, the more we do the work on ourselves of understanding our feelings and ourselves, when something comes at us like that, what you were talking about, we have a deeper understanding because we've done it towards ourselves.
Yes.
So anything we've done on ourselves,
Yes.
we can have compassion for the other person, even if we don't agree with them, we know where they're coming from.
Totally. And what I have found really empowering as well is along with that understanding is, whenever we get triggered by something that someone else has said or done, it's having that, and we've talked about this, the power of self-awareness and the power of sitting with your feeling for a moment. And this takes practice, and it takes courage, and it takes kind of sitting in the fire. But even in a simple example of, oh, somebody said this to me that hurt me. Okay, well, how can I understand their point of view so that I can, forgive through that understanding, but also understanding ourselves, like you were saying, why did this trigger me like that? And that's really where the growth is, that moment of, you know what, actually, it wasn't even about exactly what she said. It's my interpretation of what she said, which brought this memory of something else that happened to me. And that just escalated those feelings in me. And then when we get that power to like look at it that way, it's like, whew, we're able to process things much quicker and almost release that other person again from, you did this to me. It's like, it's okay. We're all in this shared human experience together, and we bump into each other, but it's because we carry a lot of stuff with us that can trigger us in a way that someone else had no idea they were doing, for example.
Yeah. And I like to say that they do it for me, not to me.
Yes.
Because they're just helping me grow. And you got to see everybody's my teacher.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love going through life like that.
Yeah.
So let's keep chatting, but I also want to open it up if anybody has any questions or other comments that you want to put in there. I love, Angela says, we don't grow in the lavender infused spa-like environments. We grow in the mud. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, we do.
No mud, no lotus, right? That's why we love.
I'm not seeing these comments. I'm trying to. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to scroll up a little bit because they go by fast, and then you can read them. So yeah, we've had a lot of great comments, great interaction on this chat today. Thank you, everybody. Belinda says yes. Hi to Lisa, Heidi, hi to Jay, Ellie, and Rise. I'm so glad that you guys are joining us. So Denise, anything else that's coming up for you right now that you feel is important to share in this process of awakening our truth? How do we, let me ask you this way, how do we tie that into wrapping up 2018 and getting into 2019 with even more purpose and power?
Yeah, that's a good question. So first, I'll say that anything you're currently experiencing is right on time. You're supposed to be experiencing it. there's no accidents on the path of growth. Everything is for your highest good. Even the circumstances that feel, I will just say, the harder they feel, the more transformative they're going to be for you. And that anything that you're truly desiring, whether it's next year or the year after, because I'm not going to lie, I'm very forthcoming about my journey. The things I wanted a decade ago are just starting now. So,
but isn't that delicious?
It's delicious. And, you know, I can look at it like, holy cow, but I really feel that every ounce of the path was purposeful, even the part that where we have to be patient.
Yeah.
Because it's in the patience that we develop character, we develop strength, we develop perseverance and belief in ourselves.
Yes.
So just because it's not going to happen tomorrow or next month or next year doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It just means you're being prepared well for it to receive it, so that you can fully receive it for the long haul. Because I do believe anything that comes too fast at you and you're not ready for falls through the wayside.
Isn't that the truth? Yes. We may not have enough contrast to appreciate it, to know that it was the right thing at the right time, and to make it sustainable. I love that. Love that perspective.
And
go ahead.
And so I'll just say that to continue focusing inward, because the more you take responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, and your actions will align with your healing process.
Yeah.
So anything that you think you might want for next year may change, you know, as you heal. Even I know the things that I thought I wanted as I healed kind of shifted a little bit, because I became different. This path is about becoming. We're stepping into a more truthful place within us. As we do that, our goals start to shift. But I also encourage you to just be open to what the universe sends your way, because and to pay close attention, right? So, you know, I'm less about planning and more about just being.
And that matches really well with a comment that Lisa just made, and some letting go, right? Like the idea of being fluid, that pairs perfectly with that comment that you made a couple minutes ago, because it's part of looking at the goals that we have, and also being very honest with ourselves, because it'll require maybe some letting go and shedding versions of who we thought we were supposed to be as we awaken our truth and who we really are. It's all a process of becoming. It's not, I love how you painted it at the beginning. It's not about finding, it's about awakening. It's about becoming a better version, a truer version of who we are. That's really the process. And so that will require saying goodbye to old versions of ourselves, which may be painful because we've been holding on to them for a long time. But then when we're able to shift them out of our, like, you know, area of focus, that's when we begin to allow, just literally have more space to allow the new things to come in.
Yeah, right. As Lisa said, as we're letting go, we make room at the same time for what's more aligned to our truth, right?
Yeah.
So, totally. Right.
Beautiful. My gosh, Denise, just like in all our other chats, we could sit here for like 5 hours. We could have a whole pajama party talking about awakening your truth. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for your truth. Do you want to leave us with one last like wisdom truth bomb?
I really just want to thank you for not only including me in this beautiful event, for putting this all together. And when I talked about a decade ago of what I wanted, one of the things was really to just be a part of any kind of scenario in my life where I felt supported, encouraged, and connected. And, you know, when we're in our old stories of lack and fear, we don't have that energy around us. So I had that vision of being in that type of environment, and the energy of these 12 women have been so incredible. And it's just really a beautiful event. And I just thank you for inviting me to come on to it and be a part of it.
Don't make me cry, Denise, because I'm going to cry on live TV.
You're
Thank
like
you
part
for that.
of my manifestation.
I speechless. I mean, seriously, I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back the good, beautiful tears now. Thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. I feel blessed to.
We don't plan this stuff, right? This
No.
wasn't right. It's just that's how it works. Like the more clear you get,
yes,
the more you work on yourself,
yes,
the more things kind of just drop in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. It has been a beautiful process of becoming for all of the 12 of us who have been on this journey. And I believe that by ourselves, putting ourselves in this fire of becoming, we are also supporting others in that same journey. And I think that there's no better way to do that than with our own generosity and our own spirit. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a part of this. I'm a big fan. So I really appreciate your message and your dedication to our project.
Thank you so much.
And with that beautiful energy, let's bid everybody good night. Thank you so much to those who are going to watch the replay. Please share this with others who you think might find it inspiring. JLM Rice says, I missed a bit of this chat, but going to watch it on the replay. Please do. What I did catch has been very uplifting. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you for being here. Lisa says, thank you for bringing the light. We love you, Lisa. We love you, Natasha. Look, I said Natasha even before I read your comment. So I got you, girl. Thank you so much, girls. Wow, what a great chat. I swear. I was saying Natasha before I saw her pop up.
That is crazy.
Yep.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it's not. No, it's not. All right. Love you, everybody. Right. Good night.
Thank you, Maria. Good night.
You're welcome. Big kisses. Bye.
Bye-bye.